Hello, my name is Greg Brissett, and I'm here with two older members of the North Raleigh Rotary Club. On my right, I have Tom Owen, and on my left, I have Frank Balknight. We are soon to celebrate our 50-year anniversary, and both of you gentlemen were in on early part of the formation of the club. As a matter of fact, Tom provided me with this book here. I don't know how well we can see that, but this book is from 1977. I couldn't help but be amazed at the price of the dues here. $238, not a month, but a year. And then we have an initiation of $40, but here's another good one. The guest charge for a meal, $3.75. So obviously some things have changed over the years.
Yes.
I'll start over here with Frank. If you could just tell me when you first joined, why you decided to join Rotary Club, and what you were doing at that time.
I decided to join Rotary because I'd been well schooled in it by my dad. Dad had been a member of the Rotary Club of Columbia, South Carolina, 5 Points, for a number of years, and so he then had taken me to meetings while I was in high school and then in college down there at University of South Carolina. And so I knew a good bit about what Rotary was about, and over time he gave me books. One was called The Adventures in Service, which I don't know if anybody still has a copy of that available. I think it's still available on the web. And it talks about what the real precepts were. Service above self, that's what it was about. So I knew what it was about, and my next door neighbor was Lyman Kaiser, who was the charter president of Rotary Club of North Raleigh. Lyman comes over, he's a good insurance agent, and he's canvassing for Rotary just like he would for business. Well, he was also Northwestern Mutual, and my dad was a Northwestern Mutual client. So Lyman got me for that as well as for Rotary. And it was an instant sale for Rotary. Why don't you come and join us, Frank? And I came and visited, and that was right in. That was in 1967.
Okay.
And I've been in it ever since. My dad's club was one that highly valued 100% attendance, and so that was built into me. That if you're going to belong to it, you would attend all the meetings.
And you've been a member for how many years now?
Well, since '67, so that's now 49 years.
And you've had perfect attendance.
Yeah, I worked on that. You got to eat lunch somewhere, so you might as well do it with Rotarians, whether you're in the home club or you're out traveling somewhere.
Right.
Good people to share a meal with, always. Well, like I said, there are Rotary clubs all over the place out there, and so I had a regular route of Rotary clubs I was visiting. In fact, one of them down in Wilmington, it met at a regular restaurant down there in the morning, which is a real convenient place to meet. For me, they went ahead and made me a badge down there, and I was an auxiliary member, really.
Wow.
So that was great.
So Tom, how about yourself? When did you first join the Rotary Club of North Raleigh?
It was in 1970 or 71, somewhere in that neighborhood. I don't know really, you'd have to look back in the records, but that was the first club I ever joined, so that it should, pardon me, should have a record of it. Unfortunately, the club had a secretary one year who decided he was tired of carrying around all these boxes of records, and he threw them out. So I hope you found a few of them along the way.
Okay, well that can happen in a volunteer organization, can't it?
Yep. My entry into Rotary was courtesy of a guy named Tom Martin. He was a member of the club at the time, and another man who lived across the street, and I had just moved in Quail Hollow. Didn't know him well, but he was a Rotarian also. But he and Tom invited me to come to the Rotary Club, and lo and behold, the president of the club that year was a guy named Roy Palmer.
Mm-hmm.
Roy and I grew up together in Charlotte. I didn't know what he'd been. I knew he was in Raleigh. I'd seen him once or twice, but I was not aware that he had gotten in, active in Rotary. And so we commiserated over old times for a little bit, and I joined up.
Okay.
And I've been through most of the chairs at this point.
And when you first joined the Rotary Club, you were with Carolina Power and Light at that time?
I retired.
CP&L?
Yeah, I retired from there after 27 years.
Okay, what we now call Progress Energy.
Yeah, no, we call it Duke Power.
Or Duke Power. I can't keep up with all the changes.
Neither can the customers.
Okay, and were you a regular attendee as well?
I didn't, I had about 10 years of perfect attendance, but then something came up, I don't know what it was, and I missed, and so I just quit trying.
Okay.
I admire Frank for doing it, by the way.
Right, it's hard to do, no question about it. So it sounds like both of you really got your starts because someone asked you to join the club.
Yeah.
But there had to be some other reasons why you wanted to belong to a civic organization such as this.
Initially, it was for the camaraderie. I had fun with the guys there. This was before the time of ladies. And we had a good time. We told lots of stories, most of which were not repeatable. And it was an old guys club.
Right.
Not an old guys club, but a guys club.
Mm-hmm.
And we enjoyed each other's company around the table every Wednesday. And it was fun. The ladies, well, some of them can tell better stories than we can.
And when was it that ladies were first allowed to join Rotary? Does anybody
It was in
remember
the
the year?
80s, wasn't it?
Seems like so. And I don't remember the first one.
I was trying to remember myself. I don't recall exactly who that was. Let's see.
J.J. might.
Might have been. But at any rate, they brought a lot of hard work to the Rotary movement. They are a little more diligent sometimes than the guys are in keeping things going. They're very pleasant to have around.
Sometimes better organized, at
Yes.
least that's what I'm told.
Yes, they are that. They are that. I'll own up to that. But no, having the ladies in the club was a benefit, I think.
Okay. Well, Frank, having been a member for a long period of time, I'm sure you've seen a lot of things, and I'm sure you've run into your cast of characters. Every club has them, right?
True.
But can you maybe recall some specific stories or some specific people over the years that have kind of stayed with you?
Oh, there is a huge cast of them. Roy Palmer had to be one of those. Roy is the reason that we have a singing Rotary Club right now, in fact. Roy was a musical genius in his own right. I don't know if he ever composed anything, but he could have. You could hum a tune even if nobody had ever heard it, and Roy could play it. And if you could hum anything...
And he played the piano?
He played the piano. I think he probably could play any other instrument he wanted to.
Well, I don't know about that, but he was gifted on the piano.
Yes.
His father was a trumpeter for John Philip Sousa.
Oh.
Yeah.
And the music ran in the family except with his sister. And I recall being over at Roy's house one time, and Arlene was trying to make a melody, his sister was trying to do a melody, and he hollered from upstairs, "Arlene, that's the wrong key." But he was a great guy, and I guess he was interested in the community. As much as he was in business for himself.
Right.
Always.
Always, but he was an entrepreneur from the word go. But music was his thing.
Wow.
Right. And he wasn't going to let it go not to have some kind of music at Rotary. And we had the songbooks, and he could play the piano, and he could tear the piano up, really. And he could lead it, and he just wasn't going to let it go that we wouldn't sing in the club.
Well, Roy had memorized over 1,000 pieces of music. You couldn't stump him.
Wow.
Yeah.
But he would assign notes to your telephone number and make a tune with it.
Yeah. So he's kind of a heartbeat there while he lived.
Right.
And so that's why we are still a singing club.
Mm-hmm.
We need some more recruits to get back up and work with it.
Need more singers, is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, we need more in the chorus,
I've noticed that as
the
I've
leaders.
attended some of the meetings that we could use a few more singers.
Yeah, and I try to recruit, and it's getting difficult.
Okay.
Reluctance there. But we've had others who are also real characters up there. Some of who passed along. We've had some who were pretty irascible. There was J.D. Davis, who not many people remember now, but he was an irascible sort of folk,
Yeah, he was. He lived out in North Hills.
right?
And
He's the kind that didn't put up with much stuff,
no.
but he could tell a good story.
Another one of his contemporaries was Phil Shadan. I don't know whether Phil's still alive or not.
Oh, he is.
Yes,
He is.
Okay, good.
He did.
I tried my best after he left the club to get him to come back, and he wouldn't discuss it. I don't
No.
know what happened, but something did. But Phil and I worked at Parks and Recreation to get the Rotary Park.
Yeah.
And that was, we went down and had a hearing. I think they were expecting us to give them a lot of money. We never made any promises like that, but we have tried to keep it up. The only problem I ever had with Rotary Park was we'd go over there sometimes on the weekends and plant flowers.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought we were being good kids for that. And come back the next Monday and somebody run a truck over. And we found out that was a regular truck from the Parks and Recreation Committee. I raised sand with them. I don't know whether they ever lived up to their promise to replant the flowers. I haven't been back since. But,
We'd gotten the flowers from WRAL's gardens over there when they would do the giveaways.
yeah,
So we didn't have to pay for flowers. We just had to put labor in to plant them.
yeah. And the first year, we got all of the flowers that were left over from the fair.
Yeah.
They had the garden club down at one end of
Sure.
the fair and had hundreds of plants over there, and we went
Mhm.
over and got our pay.
Right.
Right. On Phil Shadan, now you want to speak of golf, and our club has always had golfing as part of our blood.
Mm-hmm.
Phil was the consummate golfer. If there was a golf tournament to be played, he was definitely
there.
going to play in it and watch at it because he was going to win it. He was scratch golfer.
Well, he had one game, however, that presented a problem down at Myrtle Beach. At that time, they had alligators on the course. Phil said he played carefully.
So, yeah, a little extra leeway when you hit one close to the gators, no question about that.
Absolutely.
All right, so just continuing on with some of the characters, any particularly funny moments that you can remember in the club
Ooh.
that you can tell us about?
Well, while he's thinking, when Roy was president, because we were close friends, and I enjoyed kidding him constantly and unbearably all through the meeting. And I'd kid him about something or other and get him off track, and he'd respond to it. And then I got to be president, he got even. Big time.
Yeah.
But that was one of the fun things about the club. Everybody was a friend.
Right.
You kid anybody within reason about almost anything, and they would respond in kind. And before long, the club was an uproar of laughter.
Okay. Let's talk about the ways that you feel or what you've seen in terms of how the Rotary Club has changed over the years. Let's start with Tom here.
All right. As I mentioned earlier, the arrival of the ladies changed the character of the club to a great extent. The men got more polite. It was hard, but we did. There has been a lot of activity trying to find local things that can be done rather than tying into national activities.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always, I was on the PR committee from time to time. I was always saying, you know, we got to do something that the local newspapers would like to see.
Right.
And once in a while, we'd get a story about something we had done. We hid our light under a bushel. We did it too well. nobody knew what was going on. And you ask somebody on the street, "What's a Rotary Club?" They said, "What? You know, is that something we play baseball with?" It's not. And that's the kind of answer. And we had an effort to get some recognition in the community of the existence of Rotary, and also the things that we did.
Right. Has the focus of the projects changed, or has it been pretty consistent in terms of the types of things that Rotary gets involved in?
I don't see that much change. The club, my club now, does pretty much the same thing North Raleigh did. I've never seen a busier bunch of beavers in my life, though, that crowd out of Cherokee there. They're all out there doing something constantly, and it's great. Hats off to them for what they've managed to accomplish.
Frank, how about you? What have you seen change over the years?
Of course, I've seen the arrival of the ladies. And I've noticed too, and this is just in the last year or so, we've started to talk to couples. I think.
And young people, also young people. It seems like there's more focus on recruiting, younger members.
People who are not 30 years old yet. The creation of the Midtown Club, and it's not a weekly club. They're meeting every other week, and it's an evening meeting, and in fact I think their meal is mostly wine, from what I hear. And that's not bad.
Well, the tale was told about the French Rotary Club in Paris, and you came at 5:30 and began to drink, and by 8:30 nobody cared.
And
it's a long meeting too, by the way.
Yeah, I've been to some Rotary meetings. One down in Columbia, South Carolina, was one of these younger clubs in the evening, and it was about that way, and it was pretty rip-roaring club, and they were really, and they were getting stuff done. They were ready to go out and get it done.
The young people, and I have to admit this, the young people have the stamina and the enthusiasm. The only thing we lack is time.
Right.
Most of them have a job they got to work at to support the family.
Yeah.
But when you can get them out and involved in something on a weekend, they'll work like a bunch of beavers.
Well, it's also now showing up a difference in vitalities and means where, and this is also true in churches and many other organizations, where the means are with the older generation who have the wealth, and we can support things financially. We can't do the hammers so well. We have the funds, but we need the vitality and the energy, and sometimes the visions even, of the youth. And so this is where we needed these young folks, and we actually needed the younger clubs to be formed,
Right.
and to go get them.